What's up, guys? Wanted to hop on and check in. Thank you guys so much for following, subscribing, liking, sharing, and commenting. It really helps the channel. Running Gun Tarot. I guess we could run through the planets really quick and then pull it. Maybe we could pull a tarot card for each of the planetary alignments. By the way, if I've never introduced myself, I am Peter from Running Gun Tarot. Been reading for over 2 years now, professionally. Currently working for a well-known psychic website, reading tarot over there. Been doing that since this past March of 2021. As I, build my own following on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and all that good stuff. So I basically just try to keep up with daily little snippets that I call daily snipes. I try to check in with the planets every once in a while. And let's see, I did, don't forget to check out the mid-September to mid-October money and love readings, which are already posted. So go back in the archive and feel free to check that out. All the signs are up there, so feel free to tune in and apply any of the messages from those readings. Let's get a card for Sun and Virgo. This could be all signs. Again, guys, the more you interact with the channel, leaving likes, comments, all that good stuff, share with people that you think are interested, the more it benefits the channel, and the more that I could keep doing this. If you also know somebody that would like a one-on-one reading, or if you yourself would like a one-on-one reading, I'm always available for that. You can check out the website, runningguntarot.com, or if you just want to cut to the chase, feel free to DM me on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, leave a comment here below. Telling me that you're interested. All the social media is Running Gun Tarot. That's RUNNGUNTAROT, no space. What else? Let's get an overall card. This wanted to just fall out. So we got the Five of Swords in the upright. This is a cutthroat, win at all costs energy. Fives are about conflict. Swords are about thought, logic, and reason. This individual is not playing fair. This individual is playing for keeps. This individual has lost the spirit of what it is to play, essentially. And it's funny that we should refer to play because, all of us have been children before, and that's one of the first things that we lose. That's one of the first things that we could get conditioned out of, is the play and the fun. And you could even kind of, sadly enough, pick that up on people that are just kind of stagnant, or they're kind of like an energy suck. And in all of their interactions, you could kind of like pick up on their bitterness or resentment, or it just feels like it's almost as if it's like offensive in a way. And I think that's where these exchanges, I think we label it as spirituality, is kind of transcending the tendency to want to play, with those low vibrational energies. Excuse me. Meaning, tit for tat, an eye for an eye, tooth for tooth. So I always advise just to avoid those energies in general. You want to be more like, in the background, you want to be more like the sky, okay? The sky exists for the clouds to come through, the storms, the good weather, the bad weather. Obviously, the good and bad is the human experience, the human condition, but you are that ever-present awareness that either feeds into it or just lets it be, lets it roll through and roll on out. You don't necessarily got to give it a narrative. You don't necessarily got to make it personal. Make anything personal. And I know that might even sound crazy to hear, but and if you're fortunate enough to kind of deepen your spiritual path, at some point or another, you will understand what's meant by, never take anything personal. And if you want to talk more about that, you know, one-on-one, we could talk about that. Feel free to hit me up. I don't only just do tarot. We could do calls for, you know, just spiritual advice in general. I could be your spiritual advisor, your personal spiritual advisor. Like I said, if you want a one-on-one reading or spiritual, you know, advice, the rate is $2 a minute. Or if you just want to send over a couple questions, $5 a question. I've been charging as of late. It could be done over email, text, phone, video, whatever you feel most comfortable with. But let's jump into it. So this seems to be thematic. This could be, you know, a theme or preliminary energy that wants to come out. But with the sun in Virgo, and again, this is all signs, so feel free to apply, you know, whatever resonates, whatever house, whatever planet. But with the sun in Virgo, we're talking about analytics. We're talking about 6th house of organization, planning, detail orientation, healthy eating, healthy processes and cycles. Virgo is an earth energy. She's the only feminine zodiac in the tarot, I believe, or excuse me, in astrology. Excuse me, but she's essentially the planet Earth as well. But you know, alchemically and in astrology, she her ruling planet, I believe, is Venus. But keep in mind, you know, I'm kind of getting everywhere at the moment. I'm thinking about the Magician card and how, excuse me, not the Magician, the Empress card, and how she has both Venus and Libra as her ruling planet. And for some reason that just kind of stuck out. Virgo is also known as the Virgin, which I think is interesting because she's featured on the Strength card. One moment, I think I have an incoming call here. Let me put this on pause and I'll tap right back in. 1 second. Okay guys, I had an incoming call, so I just had to put it on pause, but you shouldn't have seen any delay on your end. So we're talking about the sun in Virgo, and I kind of got lost because I was conflating Virgo with Venus and Libra, because they are the kind of feminine energies, at least Venus is. Virgo being the only kind of female, technically female kind of astrological zodiac sign in astrology. And if you don't know why I'm talking about astrology and tarot are intimately woven. All the cards represent either planets or zodiac signs or seasons, you know, etc. It's all kind of baked in. But with the sun in Virgo, first and foremost, the sun is self-identity expression. So you can be kind of getting that feeling of back to school, gearing up for the winter, kind of squirreling away resources for the winter, a la, you know, harvest, tradition, and all that stuff. So, you know, going on a tangent, you know, with Virgo, was just the fact that, you know, on the Strength card, she is, you know, represented, where I used to kind of read the Strength card in the tarot as the woman taming the lion. I used to read the woman taming the lion as the Empress, hence why I was conflating Virgo with the Empress. But another interpretation is that the woman taming the lion on the Strength card in the tarot is Virgo and not the Empress. You know, they could technically be, you know, all the same character, which is the Empress in the tarot. I don't think there's anything that says that they can't be. I think it is just up for interpretation, but technically Leo the lion moves into Virgo season, so hence why some people read it as the Virgo being representative of the lady, you know, taming the lion on the Strength card. But that was just a tangent. My mind was just making all these connections, but who knows, it might come up again in the reading and act as just groundwork right now. But with the sun in Virgo, it's very going to be it's very much so going to be an expression of detail orientation, analytics, trying to get your healthy lifestyle in order, analytical processes, a little bit of volunteering, philanthropy, giving back with the Virgo energy as well. The moon in Aquarius, and these are just general kind of planetary alignments, not necessarily having to do with more so the the aspects, which you'll find most astrologers speaking to. I haven't yet grown into that part of my planetary interpretation, but you'll see most astrologers speaking to, sextiles and conjuncts and all these different aspects between the different planets in the different houses currently in the sky. But this is just to speak to more of a general approach and energy interpretation. The moon is a very fast-moving body, so it's only going to be in Aquarius currently until the 18th. I'm just looking at the laptop in the background for the planetary alignments. So if you see me looking in the background, I use tarot.com, by the way. The moon having to do with our emotional centers, our emotional comforts and well-being, femininity, mother-like energy. In Aquarius is quirky, futuristic. It's a removed air sign, meaning they don't typically get bogged down in their emotions. They kind of keep it surface. They don't, give much depth. But again, it depends on other alignments in your natal chart. So this could be a quick zip around of, the moon in Aquarius, and Aquarius being kind of future-minded, technologically minded. We have Jupiter and Saturn in Aquarius, which I've been kind of speaking to often as of late, since they've been in Aquarius. Some kind of consider them the age of Aquarius, being signifiers that were in the age of Aquarius. Jupiter is friends and groups of people. Aquarius is also, humanitarianism, so that kind of shares a little bit with, Virgo. You could find yourself stepping up in places and in spaces to help others and kind of play that role that's needed in their lives. So with all that information being said about Aquarius, feel free to apply that, future-minded, technologically based, kind of a quirky, off-the-wall energy, sometimes coming from left field. Aquarius definitely marches to the beat of their own drum, so you might be, experiencing emotional independence and how you kind of fit within the whole in your own way. Okay. It's kind of like there's a beat and then there's a counter beat that fills in certain spaces in music, so you might be that counter beat. Or counterbalance, as it were. Speaking of balance, we have Mercury in Libra. Mercury is communication, thought, logic, as above, so below, divining from the ether to the physical to the earth, from the ether to the earth. Basically from the realm of potential to the realm of the physical, concrete, tangible. Libra is all about fairness, balance, reciprocity. I believe Venus is... Okay, so Venus is now in Scorpio. Venus just came out of Libra. Mercury in Libra, I find that what's, being weighed on the scales of Libra is the heart and the mind. I always tout to not let the mind, not let the automatic thinking process run the show. Know that you are not these thoughts. You don't have to relate or identify with them. Similar to your feelings, you don't have to relate and identify and give a narrative to the feelings. Sometimes they just need to be expressed. So pulling a card for the Sun in Virgo, let's see what comes out, because I don't think we were able to get to one. I think we just got the Five of Swords so far. Let's go really quick for Sun in Virgo. Ace of Swords in the upright, so it could be that within this season, Sun in Virgo until September 22nd, there's going to be the Ace of Swords is truth, clarity, cutting the Gordian knot a la Alexander the Great. There's a story in, I guess ancient Rome. I guess Alexander the Great was ancient Rome. Comment below and correct me if I'm wrong, but in all of the lands, there was this, it was known as the Gordian knot, and if you were able to untangle it, then, whatever that meant. But when Alexander the Great met the Gordian knot, this ball of rope or whatever, at least in my understanding, instead of trying to kind of meticulously, untangle and find out what the knot was or the secret to the knot or whatever, I think it even could have been like a special kind of like sailor knot or whatever, but he just simply like cut through it and was like, fuck all this nonsense, and just cut through it. So sometimes you kind of got to do that with your thinking. Virgo kind of channels the energy of the Queen of Swords in the upright in the tarot. So for this to come out is very apropos. Truth, clarity, victory, justice, thought, logic, reason. These are yads in Hebrew, the first letter of God. Okay, so these are God's blessings in the tarot. The crown is the higher self. In some instances, it's the egoic self, but in this instance, I would say that it's the higher self. It's in tune with the divine. It's aligned with the divine, since this hand is coming out of the clouds here. These laurels are victory, I would say, and holiday, and or joy in general. Could be synonymous with the holidays, as we're rounding off the year. So that's very amazing. I mean, aces are about new beginnings. Again, this could be new information coming to you as well. That's really going to help you cut through anything that you've been struggling through, whether it's finances or relationships. Very awesome energy to come out here. All right. Look for a window of time from now to the 22nd when you're really able to kind of cut through the BS, as it were, by getting clear with yourself and clear with your surroundings and your situation, getting specific. For the moon in Aquarius, we have until the 18th. We have the Ten of Cups in the upright. This is a high water mark. Tens are about completions, finalities. Cups are about emotionality. In this context, Ten of Cups, happiness, harmony. This could be family-based. It could just be a high water mark for yourself. Sometimes when we, get proper meditation, and that segues into proper sleep, you're getting 2 full 4-hour sleep cycles, then, you're able to kind of bang on all cylinders. For Mercury and Libra, we have 2 Pentacles in the reverse, just an emphasis on maintaining balance here, okay? Pentacles are resources and finances. Could also be virtues, values, priorities. Make sure that you're remaining in rhythm with what's going on. This little cone could be like a street traffic cone cautioning to slow down a little bit. Make sure that you're not... Sometimes we get ahead of the downloading or processing time that our reality needs to load the next thing for us. That's how quick we are. That's how quick our minds are. And oftentimes when you're moving at the pace of the mind, which we have to understand is programmed by society and cultural conditioning, then we can't understand that now is enough, and the mind was merely meant to be a practical tool or a portion of the kind of ebb and flow and the expression of life, but not necessarily the judge or critic that runs the scheduling and the flow of events in which they play out. They being whatever it is that you're looking forward to, whatever it is that you're expecting, and so when you can kind of balance that out with the heart, again, we're talking Mercury and Libra. We're talking about what's being weighed on the scales of Libra. For me, the heart is, people say follow your heart. That could be intuition, but the heart is always here and now, right, in this moment. So for me, my interpretation as of late for, the heart being on the scale, or the turn of phrase, follow your heart, or even, love, for example, would just to remain as present as humanly possible. Because this is where the magic is. This is where it's always been, and this is where it's always going to be. It's never going to be in the conceptual future or past, or in the worry or the fear vibe or frequency. So this is definitely a lifestyle where, the essence of who you are is being communicated. Again, Mercury and Libra. And so if you find yourself getting ahead of yourself, it's because that is an expression of Or I should say, if you find yourself feeling scattered, that's because that's an expression of you getting ahead of yourself. You being typically, the over-identified concept of self with mind. The sense of self with mind, which we aren't the sense of self, we are just the pure being of self. So, but that being said, practically speaking, and I know it doesn't sound sexy or whatever, but when you feel like you're kind of off balance or being pulled in every direction, the best thing truly is to do is to kind of sit in quiet meditation and allow things to, kind of unfold. As opposed to being like, on, next. And I think that's when you kind of tap in and get back in tune to the natural rhythm, which again, you see that it's water-based in the background. We understand that emotions, typically in the tarot, we identify emotions with the element of water, or the cups, which is a completely different realm from thought, logic, reason, or the swords. Yes, in hindsight, we could conceptualize our feelings and we could better understand the patterns so that we could put them in a box, and hence they're now conceptualized. But often we have to allow the space and time for whether it's our feelings or whether it's just other moves and other pieces that need to fall into place, so that you can move forward. But again, if you're so kind of eagerly trying to, get to the next thing, then you're going to miss out on the rhythm of this dance, and you're going to miss out on the now. So, okay, let's see what else wants to come out for. We have Venus in Scorpio until October 7th. Venus is love. Venus is, let's see. Yes, the planet Venus, relationships, desire, love, finances. In Scorpio. Scorpio is 8th house, the taboo, sex, magic, esoteric, the, underbelly, what's hidden, what's not out in the open typically. Let's see what wants to come out. So with Venus in Scorpio, you could be finding that, maybe some of your unconscious insecurities when it comes to desires or relationships are being challenged with, Scorpio's presence here. So that you can really kind of see where your insecurities possibly lie, from a higher perspective. And once you can see them, you can know not to play into them and know that they really are nothing. Fundamentally, they only become something when you buy into the narrative and purchase the ticket of the narrative by giving them your cares and concerns and worries, by buying the concept of yourself, meaning I'm insecure about XYZ because I've always been insecure about XYZ because this is me, because this is who I am in the context of society, Whereas, society kind of dictates what you should be, insecure about, or what you should feel like, you don't have the right job or the right whatever. That's the programming that we're speaking to. Likewise, the identity that you're given is given to you by society. It's given to you from something external to yourself, to your pure self. So that's the kind of through line that we could follow to the higher concepts of not purchasing that, identity, that concept of self first and foremost, because we know that it's always going to lead to the same ups and downs. Under societal programming, fundamentally, seems to be that, things are not enough, or we have to kind of pursue. And so I think a healthy kind of takeaway is just to know that you are kind of just your own, complete, whole, perfected being before that. And in fact, all of that societal programming and structure that requires you in your being before your identity to exist upon anyways. So, and to kind of take it a step further, it requires that you identify with what they tell you you are, in order for it or they or them or quote unquote society, whatever that's a metaphor for, to have any of its power. It could even be someone who's negatively talking to you on TikTok or something like that. Like, you have to purchase being a self and then being an offended self to give them energy back in the form of like hateful, speech or hateful retaliation or negative commentary. And I think to point it back, to circle it back to the Five of Swords came out first for this reading. And remember we said that that was like a cutthroat, win at all costs kind of energy. Likewise, things kind of burn down and kind of implode when we're too heavily identified and associated with I am person A and I need to get to this point, and I'm so bought into that concept that I will kind of hurt others, or I will, go about this achievement of my goal or purpose in an unethical way, things of that nature. When we're so married to ourselves or our idea of self or our idea of achievement and success, is when that suffering occurs. So I did a reading the other day about, and I think it was Libra, coincidentally, but nothing really is coincidence, but it was a message on, I think, yesterday's Daily Snipe. You could feel free to correct me, but go check it out on Instagram or TikTok, or it could have been the day before. But it spoke to, and this came out for Libra, not, cutting your nose off to spite your face type energy. Not, throwing the baby out with the bathwater, not burning down the house so as to achieve whatever it is that you're trying to achieve or kickstart. Okay, it will grow in its own season, with its own kind of rhyme and reason. So trust that. Okay. Let's see. We are going on to Venus and Scorpio. Let's have Venus and Scorpio be the last thing that we pull a card for, and then maybe I'll check in again next time I do a video and see what wants to come out here. But technically we have Mars in Libra, Jupiter in Aquarius, Saturn in Aquarius, which we touched on, Uranus in Taurus, which I've always been banging my drum on as of late, since this past, at least this past year. I mean, Uranus in Taurus has been in this alignment since March 2019. It's going to be there till July 25. But I've talked ad nauseum about Uranus and Taurus. Neptune in Pisces, Pluto in Capricorn, I've spoken to in previous videos, but check out the other planetary run through if you want to see what's going on with that energy. Those are further away bodies, astrologically. So they tend to kind of have longer cycles to fulfill and complete. The first kind of 4 or 5 planets that I'm running to are bodies. They have a shorter stint in that sign, respectively, for the duration that they're in whatever sign they are in. So, for instance, Venus in Scorpio, it's out of Scorpio October 7th, and then Mars in Libra Mars is out of Libra October 30th. So, I think that'd be a good time to check back in. Okay, but for Venus and Scorpio in general, and again, feel free to check out those rest of September to mid-October money and love readings. They're all up. They're all posted on the Run and Gun channel on YouTube. Find your sign, find your sun sign, find your rising sign, find your north node sign. Mine's Pisces, so I would watch the Pisces within the context of, applying it to my north node lesson, for instance. do all that stuff with all the readings and all the videos. It really helps. But let's end on Venus and Scorpio. Again, Venus is in Scorpio until October 7th, 2021. Okay, Five of Cups in the upright. This is salvaging a relationship. Fives are about conflict, ultimately, so as to persevere and perfect whatever it is that we're trying to get through. Cups are about emotionality again. This is salvaging a situation. Someone could be crying over spilled milk. Scorpionic energy. So very fitting that this energy is coming out for Venus and Scorpio. And like I said, cups are about relation, emotionality. Water under the bridge. You know, this season will pass. You know, continue to focus on, you know, what's priority for you. Don't let your values or your virtues, you know, be disrupted, and carry on. I think you will. I think the payoff will be a high watermark with the Ten of Cups in the upright. I don't think that there's, you know, there's no coincidence that, you know, you got night and day here. I think there will be victory over this situation. I think you'll see it at the end of Virgo season, about the 22nd. But in general, up until the 7th of October, I mean, I would say tread lightly in general, but I feel as though this energy will blow over. Let's see if we can get anything else for Venus and Scorpio, because it's kind of a tough note to leave on. I feel as though it's ultimately working to the high water mark of the Ten of Cups in the upright. It could be that for like the first, because Venus has been in Scorpio since September 10th. I think at the time of this recording, it's the 14th. Let's see. Let's not speculate. Let's see. Yeah, it's okay. So we're already at the 16th. I would even beg to say that by the 18th this would blow over, because again, this came out for the moon in Aquarius, and that's a high water mark. It could be that you were in this energy, but I feel as though it'll blow over by the end of the weekend. Let's see what else wants to come out. Sorry, I'm just trying to predict what. Yeah, because then I think the moon's going to be in Pisces after that. So I think, and this is more of a Pisces energy. Actually, this is Pisces energy. So I think that you will kind of get back to here when the moon enters Pisces after the 18th. So give it about 3 days. Maybe by the start of next week. Okay, let's see, what is the Five of Cups in the upright? Because I get that maybe this is like an undercurrent, right, to this. I think these are high water marks, but they're kind of superficial. They're kind of surface level. They're kind of veneer, because you can't live at that level. But let's see what's up with the Five of Cups in the upright. Ultimately, it is a positive, salvageable energy, but again, it is kind of baked with, it's chock full of sadness and sorrow. So you kind of want to try to let that go. Emotions are of the past, right? So someone is interpreting or seeing something or mourning something, you know, to be honest. Because, you know, Scorpio does kind of rule over death and things of that nature. Yeah, this is a time of vulnerability, letting your guard down. You might be seeing someone being vulnerable. Maybe they're even processing the loss of someone. But ultimately, I think that this is going to be healthy for them and good for them. Let's see what else. second and third chances, more scorpionic energy. Okay. So if you have a funeral to go to or something like this, this is kind of the energy I'm picking up on. Feel free to apply that. It doesn't have to be that. Judgment in the upright is second and third chances, double completion of a cycle. So closing out big cycles. You got a lot of 10s here. Okay. Definitely by the beginning of October, I think this energy will, by September 30th, I think this energy will have completed its course, its cycle. Queen of Cups in the reverse. You can see someone being cold emotionally. You might even find yourself expressing coldness emotionally. That's Gemini Cancerian energy here. This is fire sign energy, but this is just not being present here with the Page of Wands in the reverse. Page of Wands, you know, like I said, my interpretation has been, you know, it's an internal compass, it's an intuitive energy, it's an energy of gearing up to travel. I call it follow your heart, but following your heart also means being present. So not holding any cold grudges against someone that might be mourning or going through something. And yeah, remaining present. Because in the upright, these energies are very kind of warm, essentially. You know, Page of Wands is a fire sign energy. Queen of Cups is a warm, caring, loving, emotional leader type energy. So you could be interpreting that as well. If you're a Cancerian moon sign, like myself, it can resonate. Or a Gemini moon sign. Okay, guys, I'm going to leave it there. Very interesting read. I think a good takeaway is to not take things personally as well. I know we referenced that Alexander the Great story and the Gordian knot. I think one kind of takeaway from that example would be that, like, he didn't buy into the narrative. He didn't buy into the storytelling. He didn't buy into the mythos behind, you know, what was presented in front of him. He kind of just sliced through it, discerning with, you know, clarity, logic, and reason, which doesn't always have to be cold and callous and removed. I think, you know, it could be expressed you know, gracefully, to the extent that there's understanding and wisdom behind it, and you could see something from an elevated perspective, and so you're not playing into it, and hence you kind of just cut it out, cut it out of the picture, and move on to something of you know, we spoke to responsibilities, values here. Two of Pentacles in the upright, sticking to your values. And cutting through the nonsense. It could be cutting through the nonsense emotionally as well. Okay, this is, after all, you know, people always say it's crying over spilled milk. So, all right, guys, I'm gonna leave it at that. Feel free to like, share, follow, reach out for one-on-one reading, and love you guys a lot. Appreciate your support. On to the dailies, on to the daily snipes. I'll let you boy for more. Peace.